Hello everyone and welcome to the Anime Delia, and thank you for joining me as we discuss chapters 69 to 84 of the Tower of God webtoon series, covering the Battle X Gamble, the Truth, and the Tournament arcs. Some very interesting arcs in where the theme of betrayal is everywhere, and you don't know who's on whose side until it's too late. The fights were next level, and we get to see some interesting turn of events and development. So let's get into my thoughts on these arcs right now. First and foremost, I want to say the structure of the workshop battle arcs as a collective has been incredible so far. I really have been enjoying the kind of different ideas that have been implemented into these blockade of arcs and this workshop battle kind of segment of the story. At first, I was expecting a massive 1v1 tournament in where characters do get time to shine and resolve their kind of differences. But instead, we got this very unique battle style at the very beginning, where groups of fighters had to battle it out to insert their bat-like object into one of the holes in the ground. And all the while this was going on, we have characters that scored the highest points in the one-shot, one-opportunity test just before this one, and they gained the position of gambler, betting on who they think will win each group blockade in order to win money and lose money. And then whatever money they have goes into the next round. They can buy players that aren't already participating and then obviously battle it out using it that way. This I thought was very creative, very new, and it's not something that I've seen before in any manga or comic. So I found it a nice breath of fresh air when reading through. Plus, doing it this way makes it much easier for other character storylines and plot threads to play out alongside the action. I thought the balance between plot and action was very well balanced out, because if you have too much action, you're going to overload the reader with too many kind of fast-paced movements, and you're going to get a bit kind of confused as to what's going on. And yet, on the other side, if you have too much plot, the reader's going to get a little bit bored and trail off because they're reading constantly. So I thought the way they broke it up and the use of this tournament and the way that they've laid it out, I thought complemented each other perfectly. That's all I wanted to say about the structure so far. It really has been incredible. And let's move on. So then our first and only 1v1 battle from the Plug games, Anak versus Ran. This match was amazing. High tension, high stakes, a lot of psychological warfare, and an unfortunate ending.
Revolution!
Shut up, Pickles. Learning about the lightning pill was really cool, as it's a consumable item that only a select few of the Kun household can use because of the effects it has on one's body. Basically, if you use it and your body isn't capable of withstanding it, you could basically die from it. That additional information about the mark or the mole that appears on the face during using the pill, I thought was quite interesting, as I can see Masheni Jihad using these powers alongside of her princess abilities. And if that's the case, if she can use them both simultaneously, then that is going to be one insanely powerful princess. Now, on the flip side though, I can also see her not wanting to use this power willingly, as it does mark her face, and based off her information and personality that we've seen thus far, she seems like the type of character that cares a lot about her appearance and the way that she looks. So I think that she probably wouldn't use this technique or this pill if it meant that, her life wasn't on the line. So, if she's like in a do or die situation and it's the only way she can get out of it, she might begrudgingly use it. If not, she won't use it at all. And did anyone else think of Leiro during this explanation of the lightning pill? I honestly thought that Leiro was actually using this technique for the whole of Season 1. But then I kind of looked at the facts and thought about it a bit more and realised that did not make sense at all. Leiro has only ever used one lightning-based ability / skill, and that kind of appears in this collective of arcs that I'm going over. Nor is he a part of the Kun household. So where would he get it from? Yes, he's always had a mole or a mark on his face as like a design aspect, I think, of his character. But yeah, it doesn't make sense. Nothing adds up. So that was just me having a bit of a brain fart there and then. That being said, though, the interactions between Ran and Anak were so sweet, honestly. I actually quite liked it. They have this I don't like you kind of attitude and vibe towards each other, and yet they just can't keep away from each other. And they do, on some level, have a lot of respect for each other because we see Anak actually using the information or following up on something that Ran mentioned. So she does kind of still have that bit of respect for him, even though they both just can't stand each other. I thought it was good. Almost reminded me of Anak being a tsundere, if you know what that is. So Bam, aka Black Turtle, and Rax finally meet up in Season 2. And this reunion was so wholesome. Seeing the two hug it out after so long was just very heartfelt. Plus, Sting and Dorsey still being a bit love drunk for Bam. She really wants that date, by the way. Or she's just not getting the fact that Bam isn't really interested in that type of area. Probably the only guy in Tower of God that we've seen that isn't interested in Dorsey. Maybe Khun as well, but that's to be said. That being said, we do really see two very cool techniques / items being used in this segment when Bam meets his old teammates. The first is Bam making a flying saucer out of Shinsu and then awesomely gliding around the building with it. I thought that was cool. Where can I get one? Secondly, in Dorsey having a teleportation item was very intriguing, and hopefully this plays a bigger part later on down the story in where maybe she used that to get like Bam away from Fook so that they can kind of, not solely those two, but they can kind of meet up with the others and get away that way. I think that could work quite nicely. My first thoughts though was that the item that you win if you collect it in the one shot one opportunity test. Now, I haven't really followed up on that yet, so if it is, you can let me know. But, I mean, that's just my first thought as soon as I saw it. Then again, I'm not quite sure how Dorsey would get it, but we didn't see her a lot, so maybe it'll get explained moving forward. So really quickly then, we have 3 masterful disguises, and I just can't tell who these 3 characters are. If you know who they are, could you let me know in the comment section down below? They seem really familiar, and yet I just can't put a finger on it. One of them's got a really cool looking bird mask on, the other one dyed his hair, and the other one's only showing one eye and is blonde. It's just the way they act. Something just reminds me of other characters. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Keeping on with Bam's character, seeing him slowly but surely turning on Fook and trying to break away from them after finding out a lot of information, like the fact that he is the Workshop Battle's grand prize, or the human ignition weapon experiment are still being conducted, plays to Bam's character really well. As we know, as viewers of the series, that Bam just wants to be with his friends, and the fact that they're using Bam's friends as hostages to make Bam do stuff is a very good example of Bam still wanting to be with them. Plus, we see that he does really want to go with Rax and the others, but he knows that he can't because of the danger that that will put them in. And then we also have this idea of him not liking the idea of human experimentations continuing under Fook's permission, especially after hearing Hyo-Yang's story. So Bam's character slowly breaking away does make a lot of sense, and it does play to his character and his personality very well. I just think that something needs to give, something needs to really drastically happen, and I think it's going to happen in the next couple of arcs, so hopefully we get some good resolution. The thing I'm a bit confused about though when it comes to Fook is realistically that line that we see where one of the members is like, he broke the rules first. We are going after his friends. It doesn't really make sense for them to kill Bam's friends, because if they're using Bam's friends as hostages and then they kill them all, Bam is not going to be any fit state to actually work for them, because he's going to be mentally destroyed and distorted by that failure of him not complying with what Fook wanted, and the fact that they then lose their leverage over him. So that just doesn't make much sense in my opinion. Unless they're going for the kind of Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul type of scenario where they break him down so much, they just turned into, their puppet and something that's a little bit kind of evil and heartless. They go, the tower did this to your friends, not us. I don't know. I just don't get that kind of line that they said, but maybe they'll expand on it in a bit. The scene with Hyo-Yang in glasses was super cute, thanks to a couple of little pumpkins leading the way. Hyo-Yang in glasses had a chance to dance, kind of, and talk. This was one of those really sad talks, however, being that we learn how Hyo-Yang feels after meeting Sophia once again. Remember, she was the reason that he managed to live through those horrible tests and experiments. She gave them love. She gave them a name and treated them like humans. However, this love and this treatment of being human was fake. She knew about the tests and the experiments that they were being put through, and yet continues to this day to kind of do the experiments more and more, leaving both the devils that we know feeling lost and heartbroken. However, the difference between Casino and Hyo-Yang is the fact that Hyo-Yang has a place to return to. Now, this could be me being really, really, really skeptical and fearful, but this conversation with glasses raised a lot of death flags for me for Hyo-Yang's character. Hopefully, he does survive, but we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe we'll get a Casino versus Hyo-Yang fight, and this will be the end of him, finally. I don't know. That's just something I'm a little bit fearful of, and maybe skeptical of happening, because why give us this kind of lovey-dovey type of tension between glasses and Hyo-Yang and not let it lead to any development or despair or anything like that? I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit cruel. We'll have to wait and see. The Hads and Leiroro, what a good combination that should be. We only get to see a small amount of screen time for these two characters, but I still think that both characters here looked promising. Hopefully Hats finds a new sword that he can use, and hopefully we also learn / see more of Leiroro's mission. I'm really intrigued as to how this plot thread is going to turn out and where it's going to lead to, so hopefully it doesn't disappoint and we see more. I like Leiroro as a character. Now that I can say his name properly, I think it's pretty cool. And finally, let's talk about Beta. This character was truly fantastic in these arcs. This character gave a lot of information out. Some were new details, some were details we already knew, and other details helped change the atmosphere and the vibe of the chapters we were reading to that more of a darker and sinister tone, to more mysterious and leaving us with questions that needed to be answered. Telling us about the needle that could kill the king and the fact that it was empty was pretty cool. The devil that can reignite it, however, lives inside of Bam, leading to a clash between Bam and Beta. The plan originally was to give Bam the needle, however, this was changed to basically inserting the soul that is needed for the needle to reignite, keeping it under Fuchs' control pretty much forever. That's why Violet was made the prize of this workshop battle. Whoever won, and a lot of Fuchs members are in there, would gain Violet, thus gaining the devil that is inside of him and being able to implement that into the spear that can kill the king, or needle that can kill the king. I really love this turn of events, as it leaves us with the question of, does Bam need to die in order to insert that soul into the needle? If not, then this can lead to quite a few different avenues. For example, it can lead to Fuchs still managing to execute their plan, while Bam goes after him to try to stop them. A part of me says yes, as we do see Yuto, aka the red-headed guide, talking to two of Bam's allies. Is it Dovik and Hyo-Yang? She basically says to him, come with me and I'll take you to where you need to go. Without really saying it, she guides them. Now, this leads me to believe, because I've already stated that this red-headed guide likes Bam to a certain degree. Now, I know someone in my comment section mentioned that she doesn't want Bam to die, but she still wants the plan to go through. She still wants the king to die, but she's willing to make Bam's life a bit more comfortable. And I get that. She shows a bit more of that here. So the reason as to why I feel like Bam needs to die in order to insert the soul into the needle is simply because this guide would not be guiding two of Bam's allies there if it meant that Bam's life wasn't in danger, and if she didn't care about him. Plus, this further increases the layers of Fuug's organization. With all these groups within the workshop tournament being like connected to Fuug specifically, the fact we don't know who like completely is there under Fuug's watch or aligned with Fuug, I think leads to some very interesting twists and dynamic. Like I said, the theme of betrayal was here throughout. And Knack went to the team with the mad dog on it, like sort of lighthouse keeper, and that in turn led Dovik to talk to her as well and said, look, Viole wants to part ways with Fuug, can you help us out? And she said, yeah, we will. And it turns out they were in line with Fuug already. So I thought that was a nice twist. Plus, it plays to the fact that they don't really care about Bam at all, as long as their goals are achieved, which we somewhat already knew, but at the same time, it's nice to get that clarification. Overall, I thought this was a solid set of chapters that gave us a lot of exciting action and battles, and it was mostly action heavy. Not a massive deal of plot happened, but we do see the ball rolling a little bit more. And it opens up to more possibilities as to what could happen in the future. Khun now has a pretty good looking team, and it does look quite interesting. We see Rax on there, we see Wang Nang on there, we see the pyro, like, crazy kid that burns everything. We see Caparocta, I think that's how you say his name, tinfoil head, basically. And we see Eon. Now this excites me, because I want to see Eon develop more as a character. I want to see her kind of get control of her powers and not rely on Viole being on a team to do so. We get teased a little bit about this in the plug game, where both fire users are kind of arguing. She's like, oh, you shouldn't burn people. You shouldn't let your fire run wild like that. You should control it. And he's like, well, why? Why? I want to burn everything. Now, both fire users are on the same team. So this could lead to something dynamic, and this could lead to possibly Eon controlling her powers a bit more and gaining a bit more kind of momentum and substance as a character. Will we get the Mad Dog versus Bam or Beta? Hopefully. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, this is going to conclude my thoughts on these arcs. Like I said, very good, very interesting, very much a lot of action. So again, there's not many little details to kind of go over, but I still thought it was enjoyable nevertheless. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, please, and make sure you subscribe for more content moving forward. I might try something new in a minute with these videos, and then hopefully we'll see some feedback and see how it goes. But we'll have to wait and see. Other than that, I hope you have an amazing day. Alligator matane. Goodbye.